if the work done by a force or work done against the force is independent of actual path, then this force is conservative force. Now, as like conservation of electric charge, the force is also conservative because force depends upon strength of the electric charge and charge is always conserved. That how the principle of conservation of electric charge. Take an example of glass. This is the glass and this is the silk. The total charge, these are the insulator. Glass is the bad conductor of electricity. Silk is also a bad conductor of electricity. These are the two insulating material. So that if these two materials, glass and silk, are the insulator, it means that charge on glass and charge on silk is equal to 0, because this system of two material, this system consists of glass and silk. So that in glass and silk system, the total charge on the glass silk system is equal to 0. Now, if I rub this glass surface with silk piece, what happens? म्हणजे before rubbing of glass with silk piece, the total charge in this system is equal to 0. Now, if I rub glass rod with silk piece, what happens? There is transformation of charges. There is transformation of electrons from glass to silk, so that glass is more positive and silk is more negative. So that suppose 3 positive charges, when we rub glass with silk piece, then it is found that glass rod is charged by positive and silk piece is charged by negative. So that equal number of positive charge produced on the glass rod and same number of negative charges are produced on the silk piece. So that total charge in the glass silk system after rubbing is equal to 0. It means that before rubbing, the total charge in glass and silk is equal to 0, and after rubbing, again total charge on glass and silk system is equal to 0. It means that total charge in the system is always conserved. Only there is transformation of the charges from one part of the system to the other part of the system. This is the principle of conservation of electric charge. The as like principle of conservation of electric charge, the force is also conservative. And conservative force means if the work done by a force or work done against the force is independent of actual path, then this force is called as conservative force. That during the work done by a conservative force, the mechanical energy is conserved. Mechanical energy remains constant because mechanical energy is required. If I move charge from one point to another point, and this mechanical energy in the given system is always conserved. That is, during work done by a conservative force, the mechanical energy is always conserved. This is the conservative force. Because of conservation of electric charge, the force is also conservative. Now next term is potential energy. Potential energy is the amount of work done against the conservative force to change the configuration of the system. This work is stored as electrostatic potential energy in the system. What is potential energy? The amount of work done against the conservative force to achieve a certain position of the system or to achieve a certain configuration of the system. This work done by a conservative force to change the configuration of the system, to change the position of the system is stored as electrostatic potential energy of the system. Means potential energy is the ability of a charge to do some work against the opposing factor in the system. This work is stored as electrostatic potential energy or potential energy in that system. Now I study this later on, that is potential energy, expression for potential energy. Now next term that is electric flux and Gauss law. We have seen that electric flux last year you have been studied Gauss law and electric flux. Electric flux, the total number of electric lines of forces passing normally through a given surface area is called as electric flux on that area and on that surface. Now if we find the electric flux per unit area of the surface, if I find the electric flux per unit area of the surface, then we get the term, this term is called as electric intensity at that point. The total electric flux passing normally per unit area of the surface, unit area means flux in a given surface area, the total number of electric lines of forces passing normally through a given surface area is called as electric flux on that area. Now if I find this electric flux passing normally per unit area of the surface, then this term is called as electric flux density. Electric flux density, another name, electric flux density or intensity of electric field at that point. This is the concept. E is equal to phi upon area, and therefore phi is equal to E into area. Phi is equal to E into area of the surface. So this is the concept of electric flux. Now what is Gauss law? There are two statements of Gauss law. Now in textbook this statement is given: the total electric flux Last year we have seen that this Gauss law, and the statement of Gauss law is that the total electric flux passing normally through any closed surface drawn in an electric field is equal to 1 upon k epsilon 0 times the total charge enclosed by that surface. Now, next, before this, what is Gaussian surface? Gaussian surface. It is the surface, it is an imaginary surface. It is an imaginary surface drawn in the electric field of the static charge which encloses the given charge, by which we can study different types of distribution. This surface is called as Gaussian surface. So, this is Gauss law. What is Gauss law? The electric flux, the total electric flux passing normally through any closed surface, through this surface must be closed. The total electric flux passing normally through any closed surface drawn in an electric field is equal to 1 upon k epsilon 0 times the total charge enclosed by that surface. This is the theorem. This is one of the statement of Gauss law. Another statement is total normal electric induction over any closed surface. Total normal electric induction over any closed surface drawn in an electric field is equal to the algebraic sum of the charges enclosed by that surface. This is the theorem. Both the statement are true. This is TNEA and this is electric flux. So, in the textbook we have to use this statement, phi is equal to q upon k epsilon 0, and we have already proved this statement in 11th standard. ये स्टेटमेंट अपन ने प्रूव किया है गॉस लॉ. नाउ इन दिस ईयर वी हैव टू स्टडी एप्लीकेशन ऑफ गॉस लॉ. वी हैव टू यूज दिस गॉस लॉ to find the relationship between electric intensity and charge, because the importance of Gauss law is important to find the relationship between electric intensity and charge. There was some relationship between electric intensity and electric charge. This relationship we can find by using Gauss law as like Coulomb's law, in electrostatic, because by using Coulomb's law we also find the relationship between electric intensity and charge. As like Coulomb's law in electrostatic, by using Gauss law we can find the relationship between electric intensity and electric charge. This is the law. Now, if just we overlook this Gauss law, what is Gauss law for this purpose, and we prove this Gauss law in electrostatic, because we have to use this Gauss law to obtain the expression for electric intensity due to charge sphere, due to charge cylinder, due to thin uniformly plane charge sheet. So these are the three applications, and to obtain this expression, these applications are very important. For this purpose, to prove Gauss law in electrostatic, we must find how much total electric flux over the whole Gaussian surface. Gaussian surface is the imaginary surface drawn in the electric field, of the static charge, which encloses the static charge, by which we can study the distribution of electric charges. there are different types of distribution: linear charge distribution, surface charge distribution, volume charge distribution. There are different types of distribution of electric charge, and we can study these different types of distribution of electric charge by using Gauss law. So that this is the, to prove Gauss law in electrostatic, we must find the electric flux and charge on the surface. For this purpose, we consider a static charge Q at point O in the dielectric medium having electrical permittivity K epsilon 0. Let us consider a static charge Q is situated at point O in the dielectric medium. Dielectric means other than air or vacuum. All the medium are dielectric medium, and in that dielectric medium we place static charge Q at point O. Now we have to enclose the charge Q by constructing an imaginary surface of any shape, so that we construct this surface is called as Gaussian surface. What is Gaussian surface? It is an imaginary surface. It is an imaginary surface drawn in the electric field of the static charge, which encloses the given charge, by which we can study the different types of distribution of electric charge. This surface is called as a Gaussian surface. This surface is called as Gaussian surface. So that we consider this Q charge in the dielectric medium having electrical permittivity K epsilon 0. Now we have to enclose the charge Q. For this purpose, construct an imaginary surface of any shape which encloses the given charge Q. This surface is called as Gaussian surface. And on that Gaussian surface, let us consider a very small element. Let us consider a very small element on the Gaussian surface at AB having area ds. Having area ds. Let us consider the point P on this element. Then this Q charge, let us consider the point P on the element is a distance r from the center of the charge Q. Now, by definition of electric intensity, this Q charge, static charge Q, produces the electric field strength, electric intensity at point P, and direction of electric intensity is always outward normal. Outward normal. This is the. So this electric intensity produced at point P at distance r due to static charge Q is given by the formula E is equal to Q upon 4 pi K epsilon 0 into r square. According to Coulomb's law, according to Gauss law, the electric intensity produced at point P at distance r from the center of the static charge Q is given by Q upon 4 pi K epsilon 0 r square. Along this direction of electric intensity is normal to the point P, but it is not normal to the area AB at point P, and we want the electric intensity which is normal to the surface area ds. Therefore, this is the normal, that is E cos theta. First we consider static charge Q in the dielectric medium. Now this static charge Q produces electric field in that dielectric medium. Now we construct a Gaussian surface of any shape which encloses the static charge Q. After considering a Gaussian surface, then on that Gaussian surface let us consider a very small element on this Gaussian surface at AB having area ds is at distance small r from the center of the charge Q. Now this Q charge, static charge Q, produces electric intensity at point P in this direction is given by E is equal to Q upon 4 pi k epsilon 0 r square. But this electric intensity E is not normal to the surface area ds at point P. But we want the electric intensity which is normal to the surface area ds at point P. So that we resolve this E into two components. One of the component of E is parallel to the surface area. Another component of E is perpendicular to the surface area. And the electric intensity which is parallel to the surface area, this electric intensity do not contribute any type of flux because theta is equal to 90 degree. Therefore, electric flux passing normally through the surface area ds, this much electric flux is electric flux passing through ds is, that is d phi is equal to E cos theta into ds. This much electric flux passing normally through the surface area ds of the element AB and is given by d phi is equal to E cos theta into ds. Now, but E is equal to, that is Q upon 4 pi k epsilon 0 into r square into cos theta into ds is equal to Q upon 4 pi k epsilon 0 into ds cos theta upon r square. Now ds cos theta upon r square, ds with the surface area of the element AB, which making certain angle at point O. This angle is called as solid angle subtended by the element AB at point O. Inside it is, the value is, this angle is d omega, that is we can write here q upon 4 pi k epsilon 0 into d omega, where d omega, this term is called as solid angle, that is where d omega is equal to ds cos theta upon r square is the solid angle. Solid angle. That is this AB element ये कब भेजा क्या कौन सा भेजा देख what is solid angle, that is expression for cone. This angle is called as solid angle. This is the surface area ds of the element AB, making certain angle at point O inside it. Is the value is ds cos theta upon r square, because ds be the area making a very small angle d omega at point O from a distance r, the value is ds cos theta upon r square, and this is the expression for cone. So that this much flux, this much electric flux produced on the element AB of this Gaussian surface, but this whole Gaussian surface consists of such type of large number of elements, and one of the element of the Gaussian surface, the charge Q, produces this much electric flux. Therefore, total electric flux passing normally through whole Gaussian surface can be obtained by taking integration. That is total electric flux passing through whole Gaussian surface is equal to, if I integrate this flux, that d phi closed surface integral, that is d phi is equal to closed surface integral of, that is q upon 4 pi k epsilon 0 into d omega, or is equal to, this is phi total electric flux is equal to q upon 4 pi k epsilon 0 into integration of d omega, closed surface integral of d omega, and closed surface integral of d omega is the value is 4 pi. म्हणजे total angle subtended by the whole Gaussian surface at a point inside it is always equal to 4 pi. So that this term I can write q upon 4 pi k epsilon 0 into 4 pi is cancelled, since closed surface integral of d omega is the value is 4 pi, there is cancelled, that is q upon k epsilon 0. This is the theorem. Q phi is equal to q upon k epsilon 0. This is the theorem, or this is law. So from this equation it shows that the total electric flux or net electric flux passing normally through a closed surface, through any closed surface is equal to 1 upon k epsilon 0 is equal to 1 upon k epsilon 0 times the total charge enclosed by that surface, and charge inside the surface is q. Just mean if I consider this static charge in air medium, then for air medium, for air or vacuum,